Hello everyone and welcome to my video lecture series. Today we are going to start with a new topic, or you can say a new chapter called as organisms and populations. Okay, so in today's short lecture we are going to discuss a few terminologies. So let us first of all write down a few words. All those of you who are watching my video for the first time and who have not yet subscribed to my channel, kindly do subscribe. Okay, you can check out my other videos on the channel, and if you like my videos you can put a like, you can share it with your friends. Anyway, beginning with today's topic, we are starting with something called as organisms and populations. Correct? Okay. Now, when we study about organisms, or when we are talking about populations, basically we are dealing with something which is called as ecology. Okay, you must have definitely heard of the term called as ecology. Let me write it down over here for you. Yes, what is the meaning of ecology? So ecology can be defined as the interaction between the organisms and the interaction between the organisms and their environment. So it is the interaction between each organism which is present, and it is the interaction between the organism and its environment. So the first type of interaction is a biotic type of interaction, wherein there is an interaction between two living organisms. The second interaction is a abiotic type of interaction, wherein an organism which is a biotic thing is reacting with a non-living thing which is an abiotic environment. Okay, so let me write down the definition over here. Ecology, it can be defined as the interaction among the organisms and the interactions among the organisms and the environment. Is this clear? So suppose if I want to explain this with an example, suppose there is an interaction between two tigers. So that is a biotic type of interaction, because both of them are living things. However, when the tiger is interacting with the abiotic factors which are present in the surroundings like water, soil, weather, sunlight, then that interaction is a abiotic type of interaction. So both these interactions together, they are called as ecology. I hope it is clear. Okay, so it is defined as the interactions among the organisms and the interactions among the organisms and the environment. Correct? So this chapter is an ecology based chapter. Now the next thing that we need to study is, now who coined this term ecology. So there was a person called as Reiter. I will write down his name. Okay, so this term was coined by a person called as Reiter. He was the person to discover this term ecology. However, he was not the one who used it vastly. Okay, there was a person called as Haeckel. I will write down the name over here. Haeckel. And Haeckel was responsible for explaining the meaning of this ecology. Okay, and he worked a lot on these terms. Okay, so Haeckel is basically responsible for this word ecology. Although Reiter was the first person to use it, Haeckel made the word famous. So I hope this is clear. Now going ahead, under ecology, the next thing that we need to study is called as ecological hierarchy. Let me write it down over here. Alright. Does anybody know what is the meaning of hierarchy? See, hierarchy is when you are arranging things in a particular order, say from ascending order to descending order, or from a descending order to ascending order. It is called as hierarchy. Okay. Now what is ecological hierarchy? See, in ecological hierarchy there are different levels, and in each level we are basically having an organism or a group of organisms. See, there are different kinds of groups of organisms. Okay, and each one is having a different level, and that is called as ecological hierarchy. Let me give you the examples. See, there are basically 4 levels that we study in ecological hierarchy. Okay, the basic level which is present, or the first level which is present, that is called as population. All right, now after the population, the next higher level in ecological hierarchy, that is called as, I am extremely sorry, the first level is called as organism. The second level above organism is called as population. Then the third level above population is called as community. And after community, the last and final level of ecological hierarchy is called as a biome. Now what is happening is, each level is increasing in size. So if I'm talking about these 4 levels, I can say that the smallest level is an organism and the largest level is a biome. Okay, so if I want to represent this in the form of a pyramid, I can actually draw a pyramid like this. And I will mark these 4 levels. This is level 1, this is level 2, this is level 3, this is level 4. So this is first level, which is organism. This is second level, which is population. This is third level, which is community. This is biome. Are you getting me? Now you have to understand all these terms. Normally these terms are asked as defined in examinations, written theory test. What is the meaning of an organism? Now everybody knows a single living thing can also be called as an organism. It can be a plant, it can be an animal, it can be a microorganism, it can be a virus. Okay, but how will you define an organism? So organism is the smallest part of ecological hierarchy. So can you say that it is the basic unit of ecological hierarchy? See, when suppose if I am talking about a kidney, then I can say that the basic or the structural and functional unit of kidney is the nephron, which is the smallest part. Similarly, when I am talking about ecological hierarchy, the smallest unit is what? It is a single organism. So the single organism is the basic unit of ecological hierarchy, and it is the first level of ecological hierarchy. Is this clear? For example, in an environment, a single tiger is called as an organism. A single lion can be called as an organism. A single deer can be called as an organism. A single human being can be called as an organism. I hope this is clear. So if you want to write it down, you can write it down over here, that organism is the basic, or it is the fundamental unit, or it is the smallest unit of ecological hierarchy. I hope this is clear. Now what is population? See, when I am talking about many organisms together which are belonging to the same species, or if I am talking about many organisms together which can interbreed, which can reproduce among themselves, then that entire group of organisms is called as a population. So many organisms belonging to the same species living together, that entire group of organisms is called as a population. So I can write it down over here, a short definition: group of organisms belonging to the same species. Is this clear? Are you getting my point? Okay, so a population is basically all the organisms belonging to the same species which are living together. For example, if you have a given area, okay, so let me just rub this off. Let me draw something over here so that it becomes easier. Suppose if this is an area of grasslands, okay, and in this area of grassland, suppose there are 5 cattle, right? And all these cattle, if they are belonging to the same species, then together they are called as one population. All the tigers living together in a single area, they are called as one population. All the human beings living together in a single area, that is called as one population. Basically what is important is, you should know that all of them are belonging to the same species or they can interbreed. Okay, So next is we are going to define what is a community. Okay, now continuing the same trend forward, when I'm talking about population, it is group of animals belonging to one species. Now one community is going to have more than one populations together, right? So one community will have say two species which are staying together, three species staying together. So if I want to represent a community using a Venn diagram, then I can do this. Now I'm going to keep the color same. Now this yellow line which I'm going to draw, this is your community. Okay, and inside this community, the blue line is representing a population. This is first population, this is second, this is third, this is fourth, this is fifth, and each population is made up of what? It is made up of organisms. So organisms I am showing as dots. So I hope you are understanding this. Many different populations staying together will form a community. For example, in a given area, if lions and tigers are staying together, then it is called as a community. Two different species having their organisms. Or in a given area, wolves, tigers, leopards are living together, that is called as a community. So many different populations together form a community. So I will write it down over here. Okay. Different populations staying together. I hope this is clear. Alright. So it's very easy to remember. When you start off with organism, many organisms of the same type, they form population. Different populations together, they form community. Now the next thing is going to be many different communities when they stay together. Then the ecological hierarchy level is called as a biome. So I will just scroll down, okay, because we don't have enough space. So this will be biome, and biome is the biggest level of ecological hierarchy. Now what is a biome? So biome is a vast piece of terrestrial land where many different populations are staying, many different communities are staying. Okay, there are many different biomes on the earth. I will write down a few examples. To be precise, there are 6 kinds of biomes. Okay, if you want the names, I will write them down over here. Something called as grassland biome. Then there is something called as desert biome. Then we come to the forests. There are 3 types of forests. So there are temperate forests. Then there are tropical forests. Then there are something called as coniferous forests. Alright, so these are the 3 types of forests. And the last type of biome is the one having very cold climate, which is called as the tundra. Is this clear? So totally, if we count, we have got 6 different types of biomes: grasslands, deserts, temperate forests, tropical forests, coniferous forests, and tundra regions. Now each of this biome is having its own climate. For example, if I talk about a desert, then normally during the daytime, before sunset or till the time the sun sets, the temperature is above 40 degrees or 45 degrees. It can be even above 50 degrees. So there is a higher temperature during daytime. It cools down during night. Suppose if I talk about an area like tundra region, then this region is perpetually covered with snow. It is very cold, very harsh winters are present. If I talk about tropical forest, then these forests have a very high amount of rainfall. You must have heard of Amazon forest, right? So these, each and every biome, these are having different climatic conditions. So a biome is a very huge piece of a terrestrial region which is having many different communities. Each community is having many different populations, and each population is having many organisms, but all the organisms, they belong to the same species. So I hope this is clear. Okay, so this part is called as the ecological hierarchy. Before this, we studied what is the definition of ecology. I hope this is clear. Now the last part for this short lecture today, after ecological hierarchy, we need to study how the organism and the environment are related to each other. So let me write down the heading over here: organism and its environment. Now, first of all, what is the meaning of environment? We have already studied what is an organism. The surroundings of an organism, okay, which are made up of both the biotic and abiotic factors, they together constitute the environment, right? See, please remember that in an environment there are going to be biotic factors also, because normally when we talk about the environment we think that air, water, sunlight, wind, soil, rocks, all these are forming your environment, but all these are abiotic factors. But around us there are also biotic factors. For example, there are plants, there are microorganisms, there are bacteria, viruses, fungi. So please remember, whenever you are defining an environment, remember to write down biotic factors as well. So both biotic and abiotic factors which are present in your surroundings, they are called as the environment. Now, how are the organisms reacting or interacting with their environment? See, first of all, each organism, okay, each organism has to adapt to its environment. What is the meaning of adaptation? See, whenever an organism is born, it is new to the surroundings. It might not find all the surroundings very, very conducive to survive. However, over a period of time, each organism gets used to it, it develops certain features, okay, it performs certain types of behavior with which it can adapt or it can live with these conditions, and that is called as adaptation. Now, why do you need to adapt to the environment? Because of two important reasons. See, the organisms need to survive. See, survival is the key. You must have heard of survival of the fittest. What does that mean? The organism which is stronger and more fitter, it will have the capacity to survive for a longer time, whereas the organism which is weaker, it will obviously survive for a shorter time. So the first thing is, when an organism successfully adapts to its environment, that means it is increasing its chances of survival. And the second important factor why the organism is having adaptations, that is for reproduction. Please remember, if there is no reproduction, what is the use of survival? See, reproduction ensures that there is continuation of species. If there is one generation of tigers and none of the tigers reproduce, then what is going to happen? There is going to be no second generation. All the tigers of that earlier generation, they will become old, they will die. What will happen next? Nothing. So what happens to the entire species? It gets extinct. So to prevent that, reproduction is very, very necessary. It is very, very important. So please remember that organisms are adapting, they are adjusting to their environment for two main reasons: for their survival and also for the reproduction. I hope this part is clear. So we have completed, first of all, we did ecology. What is ecology? Then we did ecological hierarchy. We studied 4 levels. Then this concept of how the organism is related to its environment. What is the interaction between it? Okay. Now coming to one more part. I already told you that there are different biomes which are present, right? There are 6 biomes: tundra region, grassland, desert, forest. Now, why are each of these biomes having a different climate? That is my question. Why is tundra region having a very, very cold climate? Or why are desert regions having a particular type of climate? Or why are tropical forest having a high amount of rainfall? Why is the climate not universal throughout? So the answer to this is that, first of all, does anybody know what determines what a particular climate is going to be in a certain region? What will decide? First of all, the position or the location of the area on the earth. For example, if I draw a globe over here, right, then the line which is passing through the center, I'm sure everybody knows, this line is called as the equator, right? And to the extremes are present the poles. So suppose if this is the north pole, then this will be the south pole. So what happens is, areas which are located on the equator, they get maximum incident sunlight. Direct sunlight is maximum. So these areas have very, very high temperatures during the day. As you move away from the equator, either towards the North Pole or the South Pole, the temperature of that area decreases. So first thing is, depending on where the biome will be present, whether it is close to the equator, far away from the equator, the climate will change. The other thing is, the main reason or the main factor which is deciding the climate is the rotation of the earth around the sun. See, the earth is rotating around the sun. It takes 365 days for the earth to complete one entire rotation around the sun. You know this. But please remember, during the rotation, the earth's axis is continuously tilting. It is not at a same angle throughout the entire rotation. The axis of the earth is continuously tilting, and because of that, there are these different climate or weather patterns. And because of that, each biome has its own weather pattern. Please remember, in a similar way, the precipitation. What do you mean by precipitation? Precipitation means the amount of rainfall, the amount of snow. All that is also decided by the angle of rotation of the earth around the sun. So I hope this is clear. Okay, this is the last part for our today's short lecture, right? So let me write it down over here. I will first of all write down what decides the climate. Climate is basically decided on, first point will be where the biome is present on the earth. By that I mean whether it is present close to the equator, whether it is present away from the equator. That is the first thing. And the second factor which is going to decide the climate is the rotational axis of the earth around the sun. So these two factors are going to decide the climate. Hence, each biome is having a different climate. Each biome is made up of many communities. Each community is made up of many populations, and each population is made up of many organisms, but they are belonging to the same species. So that is your ecological hierarchy. We have completed this first part of organisms and population. If you like this lecture, please do leave in a like, please comment. Okay, it motivates me to make more videos, it motivates me to make interesting content. Share it with your friends, and please do subscribe if you have not subscribed. Okay, so that's it for today. Thanks a lot.